Our dear viewers, dear guests, and fellow citizens, a good afternoon and welcome back to another episode of the Inter-University Debate Show. My name is Sharon Mukisa, your host for this particular episode. Our topic today centers around credibility of elections in Uganda since 1961. With me on the panel, we have students from Makerere University Business School, and they are going to share their perspective. Today in our discussion, we are going to look at the history of elections. We are going to look at the path that Uganda chose to become a democratic country, and we are also going to look at factors that have led to lack of credibility in Uganda and in elections rather. And we're also going to look at the recommendations, what could be done in order for us to say that indeed we are going to have free fair elections next year. So on the panel today, allow me introduce each and every guest, starting with Bateisa Kasfa. You're very welcome to the show.
Thank you, the host. My name is Bateisa Kasfa and I'm glad to be here.
We are very happy to host you today. And next is Team Caroline. We are happy to have you again on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here once again.
Okay, and next we have Achom Edith Morris. We are very happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here and share my ideas with everyone. Thank you.
We are very excited to hear your ideas. And last but definitely not least is Ainembabazi Dorin. We are happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm extremely delighted to also be here. A very good afternoon.
Okay, so before we dive deep into the conversation today, we need to understand the history of elections and taking us through its step and how we got here as a country today is Kasfa.
Thank you so much. Talking about Uganda's history, it started, election history, it started in 1961, where we had UPC and DP as the major parties, and we see DP emerging as the best, but the people of Uganda were not convinced with the results, and they formed their own party, which was the Kabaka Yeka, and that was to present or to represent the people of Uganda. And after that, the election was initially made to prepare Uganda for independence. After independence, we had a ceremonial president who was Kabaka Mutesa II, and his prime minister was Milton Obote. Him being a ceremonial president did not give him so much power because he held little or no power at the moment, and it was the prime minister that had a lot of power, and that was Milton Obote. During his regime, we saw him reducing the powers of the kingdoms. We saw him abolishing them, and there was so much instability in the country. So when he went for the Commonwealth, we saw Idi Amin Dada taking over. He organized the coup, and he announced himself as the president by then. And when Idi Amin Dada came into power, and that was through, of course, it was a forceful transition. He abolished the constitution that he had found, and he was a dictator, as it is said in history. He was becoming an authoritarian. Everything was literally around him. He did not want any other votes to take place. After that, we saw he was also overthrown, and which was also not through any election. It was also through a forceful mean, but still there was still instability and people were not at peace. Then after that, we saw Tito Okello also came in, and still it was also through a forceful mean, until we had the elections, the major elections, where we saw, which was in 1986, where we saw Milton Obote coming again. But then people still were not convinced, and this is where we see the current president organized the guerrilla war and went back to fight. He also came into power through forceful means. So who is still the current president? And so now, compared to the history we have in Uganda, we had not had any elections that were bringing in leaders. It was through the forceful means. There was never any elections until 1996, when we had the first presidential elections and people came out to vote somehow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kasifa. And moving on to Carol, I would like to understand, are there significant electoral challenges that you can spot right now, given the fact she has given us the history? So are there common challenges that were faced then and are being faced now?
Thank you so much. On regards to that, using what she has talked about, if we are to talk about the electoral process and the electoral system itself, first of all, the electoral body must and should be an independent body. No one should interfere into it, whether it's a political party or some other person. So you find that the electoral body is going to be a representative of everyone at the grassroots. They should bring in transparency and should ensure that there is fairness in everything we do. So you have had the history of the elections in Uganda. Everything has been in through forceful means. We have not heard of any peaceful ways through which these leaders have come in. It is either they have used these electoral commissioners or the people in charge of the electoral system, or they will have to go into the bush to ensure that I must get that power. So if at all I could highlight some of the challenges we have right now, the dominance of political parties, just like I said earlier on, the electoral body must be an independent body. But then I must state, and I will state it still, that if we are to look at today's electoral body, I don't see any fairness in it. Let's talk about this scenario when the president was going in for nomination. You realize these social media platforms must be there to air it to the people what is going on. We have the right to know that. Article 50 talks about the rights and fairness of every individual in the country. We have the right to know what is going on, but there are some television stations that weren't allowed in to go. So why that brings in a question to us: why did they refuse these bodies? For example, it was NTV. NTV was stopped from entering the grounds, but then UBC was accepted. So it is just an open thing altogether. It brings an open mind to the people. However much you don't want to think into depth, it will just bring you to a conclusion that why are they doing these things? Meaning that there are a lot of perhaps background games they are playing in. Social media is one of the ways you can bring in fairness, but now if we don't see fairness through them stopping some social media bodies, we don't see that fairness you're talking about. Perhaps maybe even we, the people, we are lacking some civic education. Even the leaders themselves, people nowadays don't even get to interest themselves with what is going on. People have taken politics as a game, as a job. Someone finishes campus, I'm entering into politics. But have you studied it? Have you gone into depth? What are your intentions of going there? So perhaps putting civic education into the minds of the people will also bring out that ability and the knowledge into them, so that we leave alone the bringing in issues of the unfairness and the lack of democracy in every step and bit of the electoral process. So we all know that the electoral...
Carol, I would like to draw you back to what the question actually is. Are there instances or are there challenges that you could say you have made research about or you've read about that you've noticed in the 1961 elections, and comparing them to elections today, current elections? Are there similar challenges that we are facing?
These are the same challenges I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes. So I've talked, in the past, we didn't have the social media coverages to ensure that people know what is going on. Because of, I've told you, in the past, everything was through, how do I state it, through forceful means. You had Amin forced himself out of nowhere. He declared himself a president. So did they go through the actual electoral process? No. So we lacked the coverage. People didn't get the knowledge about it. We don't know anything that is happening. You just wake up early morning, today this person has declared himself president. You get the point? So those are some of the challenges I'm talking about. I have talked about lack of fairness because the political people have embodied everything. They have taken over everything. So if you're not into that kind of political party, you don't have a right or access to anything regarding that. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And moving on to our job, your question would be in regards to elections today. elections in the recent years. So that would have 2001, 2006, elections in the 2000s. So I'd like to understand, what do you think has been the factors that are contributing to lack of credibility in those elections today?
Firstly, let me say thank you so much for the opportunity. One of the challenges I have seen is that there is a lot of corruption. In the corruption field, we're talking about where, like, those that are, like, financially stable, kind of like, there's a way it is to their advantage. These politics are their advantage. We have seen scenarios where most people, like, you have the money, yes, but then do you have the potential to lead us? That is the question. But then how it all goes about is that a candidate has his money and he's gonna splash it to the public, and just that mini excitement, the public kind of like gets psychological promises of more abundance of, you know, a lot of good things to come their way with this candidate. But once the candidate is sent to the position, in the end we find that it is not what they expected. It turns out the other way around, and that kind of like makes it non-credible, you get. So the other challenge we see here is that the public is not educated. The public is not educated on the aspects that maybe a candidate like he wants to, let's say this, let's use an example of Museveni, His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi. So not all the youth in this country have grown up in the kind of regime of Museveni's kind of ruling. So most of them feel like Kyagulanyi would understand them better, you get. So if we put that kind of aspect with the people that feel like it was Museveni that liberated them, they feel like he has done better for them. We're talking about the elderly people. They're the people that kind of be like, they would rather, you know, go with the leadership of President Museveni either way or the other. So the underground part of this is whereby most people complain about His Excellency Museveni's regime being full of corruption, being full of like a lot of unfair things, injustice. But then it may not actually be the president at fault. Maybe he's the top leader, but then he also has roots of the people that are supporting him. It could be around these people where everything gets confusing, and so the public out there just has the reflection that the president is not doing well for them. So they are unaware of that. They are uneducated of what it could actually be the root of their problems. So in the end, they just end up blaming President Museveni. The president cannot be down to everyone and ask each and everyone, but he has chosen to have at least one or two or maybe a lot of subordinates to rule, to represent him, what these RDCs and something, so that they can always, you know, be there for the people. That is what it is supposed to be their role. But then when they fail, the people feel like the president has failed them. The other aspect we have is that we have the Electoral Commission. So someone has an election has been conducted, and yes, the results are out. With the public and everyone, maybe there was a candidate who was reaching out to everyone, relating with everyone, and the public feels like they understand them for the better. But then we have another candidate who is much connected to the top officials, financially stable. It is in a kind of way whereby it is alleged that most of these financially stable candidates, it appears that they bribe the electoral commission. Not that it is actually in a kind of way that the electoral commission kind of like is on their side, but then if it is presented to the electoral commission that this candidate and this candidate are the other candidates at the election, the public also has their kind of aspect that this is the candidate we wanted. But then from the results and everything, it is another candidate projected. So the public kind of gets it in a wrong kind of view. They feel like it is wrong to them. That is not the candidate they expected. But then what do? The Electoral Commission has declared him the winner, so we're just gonna sit down, because who among you 1, 2, 3 with strong voices is gonna go to court and fight for the candidate you wish would have done the better? So I feel like that kind of like, is one of the reasons for the uncredibility of the elections. So the other part that I have here is that the militarization of elections. So the public, have you seen this kind of scenarios whereby we have soldiers in a place of election, like they're supposed to guard the elections, right? But then in a kind of way, the public has seen instances where people go there and maybe when chaos break out, it is not intentional that chaos is supposed to break out, but then some aspect of the public where we have people who are uneducated, people who, I don't know, maybe like put it into them like this candidate is supposed to go through, like thin or thick is supposed to go through. So when the candidate kind of fails in that polling station, they feel like something is not right. So that is why we end up seeing chaos breaking out, people getting beaten, violence coming up. So in the other aspect, the public kind of gets scared to even go and vote for someone who they wish could have been a better leader for them. So it kind of like causes uncredibility in the elections, because how do we have people who are supposed to lead and they are scared to even go and vote for the person they expect would have done better for them, because they're just scared of their lives, they have families to keep up with. If you go for this election, whatever happens in it, you may not actually even be someone to benefit directly from it, but from what you see from the election, and then how chaos break out and people die, families, lose a lot of people, you just feel like I'd rather stay home. Whatever happens in the politics, I don't want to know, but my family should be safe and have me. I still have a lot to do with my family. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Edith. Moving on to Doreen, I would like to ask a follow-up question on Edith's submission. She mentioned that militarization of the electoral process is one of the challenges that we are facing. So I'd like to understand from you, what do you think has been the role of Uganda security agencies in shaping the electoral process or the electoral landscape in Uganda?
Thank you very much. Personally, at some point, I would actually support it to have the military within us. As much as it causes intimidation, but then in most of the cases, we have seen so many people come up and create chaos even when it's not necessary. At times, for example, the previous elections were amidst COVID, and amidst me personally staying in Nansana Road, the Hoima Road to be particular. And I don't know, but people were burning tires, people were burning things in the middle of the road. Now, what do you expect the military to do? To sit around? They're innocent people that are supposed to carry on their businesses. They're people that have kids around these same areas. And guess what? You're creating chaos. You're creating insecurities within people that are actually not even involved. Now, at some point, it could create maybe intimidation, but then I feel like it's okay. It's okay for these people to involve and protect us that are not involved. Because what do you mean you're creating all this in the name of, for you believe a certain candidate should be your president? I believe there are better ways to do some things, but then not creating insecurities, not creating chaos. We normally see people rioting in the middle of the road. You're stopping, like maybe you're creating jam. And at some point, you also try and see on the other person's side of you. They're like, honestly, let us come and protect those that are not involved in this.
Doreen, what would you say to the view that the military should not be involved in civic elections, but rather the police should be involved?
The police. Now, first and foremost, I believe both the police is to keep law and order, right? And then the UPDF, which is the military, is to protect people and their things. Now, for someone that has come up and has lit up fire in the middle of the road, honestly speaking, why wouldn't we have the military? I'm not saying that it's right, but people, within us Ugandans, we have certain characters that are actually not okay. Like, I mean, yes, you may want to protest something, you have a different ideology, but then that does not give you the right to come and do things that are not legal. And also can I take a breath? And also when you say that the military should not stay, should not come and evolve itself, then at least let us Ugandans also be responsible for our lives. Let us also be keen on what we do. As much as you hold a different ideology, keep the peace. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Doreen, for that. One of the issues that was stated was the Electoral Commission, and they have given their perspective, and would like to know from Kasifa, do you think that the Electoral Commission is an independent body?
Okay, thank you so much. In my opinion, yes, I think the Electoral Commission is an independent body, because that's why we say if it wasn't independent, it would say it is influenced, because they are not coming out to do their job. They are maybe doing these things outside camera, and they are coming up announcing the leader without us knowing what is their process. But these people bring out everything into light. If it is nominating candidates, we see them nominate candidates. We see them do their job. Like, I don't know why Ugandans think it is influenced, and people say it is bribed. This is an independent body. Like, it is not there to favor the ruling government. It is not owned by the parliament or the state house. It is there to help Ugandans find justice and vote the people they want. So I don't know where the ideology of Ugandans thinking it is dependent and people bribe it comes from. But in my opinion, people that come out and show you their work and show that the process through their work is done, you cannot doubt them by saying it is not independent. In my view, I clearly think it is very okay.
I think to back up on her point, of course, the electoral body, for it to be appointed, the president, of course, is involved, and the parliament. So initially, in people's view, because the current government is the president, whom they assume they don't like, is one of the people who is into the process of appointing who the next EC is. So it will initially bring in this mind, oh, he has brought his person. So his person will come and play games to trick us, whatever, the nomination, the voting, but down low-key, they already know who their candidate is. So you get the point. Yeah. But of course, we can't avoid such circumstances. It is a must. The president has to appoint who the next EC is. He can't appoint himself. So it is just an ideology. We can't stop it, and that is the case.
So, Carol, you also believe that the Electoral Commission is an independent body?
The point. Because of the process, how he is appointed out, the parliament has to approve of him, and even the president himself. So that's why I say he's an independent. It is an independent body altogether.
Okay, thank you very much. Doreen, would like to add on to that?
To add on something. When Carol says that the people in the parliament are chosen by us down on the grounds. So basically, if the parliament, because I believe before the president signs and approves the person, the parliament, the people that we have sent to represent us, have actually approved this person. Yeah.
Okay. Achom, do you hold the same view that the Electoral Commission is an independent body?
Nope, I do not.
Yes, please tell us why.
I do not think the EC is an independent body, because we have seen scenarios. I personally, back to where I come from, we see scenarios whereby at one point, an election has been conducted, and yes, an election has been conducted with everything going on well, but then when they read out the results, they read a candidate that, okay, not the whole public was in for that person. You get, most of the people, if you were relating with the public, most people were like, were for the other candidate, were for the other candidate, were for the other candidate. But then when the AC reads, it is for the other candidate actually. So the public, the public is kind of shocked or something, because that is the least expected thing. When we move to court and more investigations are done, the judiciary gets involved, we find that the Electoral Commission and the voting and everything, how they carry out the investigations, it kind of reflects back that this candidate was actually the winner. So it has made it in my mind like, okay, not every time the EC is actually an independent body, though in some other aspects it is an independent body, but to some extent it is not an independent body, it is influenced.
Yes, Carol. Let's hear from Carol.
So, Achom, you're disagreeing with what you're saying, But according to the view, the perspective you've just given us, it's more of like you saying winning an election is determined by your popularity other than what your ideology you're bringing.
But
because you've just told us back then in your home there, a candidate who was more known and popular to the people was expected to win, but he didn't make it through. And then the other candidate who wasn't known went through. Is that what you're trying to mean?
Yeah, I made that kind of highlight. And did you hear my aspect of getting to court and investigations, more investigations and deeper investigations made, and it is reflected that it is the other candidate who won when investigations were done?
Carol, I have a question for you. I hope you've been following the nomination process.
Yes, please.
Because when the MUBS president submitted his forms and he was expecting results from the Electoral Commission for nomination.
Yes.
And the Electoral Commission comes out and gives him a letter saying that he has not collected enough signatures. That is 2 days to the deadline. He has not collected enough signatures, and the stamp of that letter had a date of way back before, like a week ago. So do you still hold the position that they did not intend to put out a letter like that, or this was already organized and intended that on this day we shall issue out this letter to tell them that their candidate, the new president, should not stand?
In regards to that, on my side here, we don't know what is going deep down with whatever is there in the politics. But I don't know whether it was organized or maybe perhaps he lacked the number of signatures they needed. And of course, in the process, for you to go through the nomination, you must hand in the expected numbers and up-to-date signatures, like valid numbers of signatures. So it was valid for the EC to bounce him off and to send him that letter to ensure that he brings the certain numbers of signatures that was needed.
It was valid enough for them to issue it out 2 days to the deadline?
Of course it was.
Would you elaborate more on that?
Yes, I can.
Oh, yes, please.
Because I guess this is a body that has a criteria it follows. We do not think that they will just wake up one day and say, you know, if it has been, like you said, it has an earlier date, but they have what they follow. Maybe there is something they wanted to first follow up before they tell him that it's 2 days to the nominations and you have to get the signatures. I believe it was through their criteria, and they realized this was the right time to tell him, and he still had 2 days to look for the signatures, and he got them.
Okay, thank you very much. Doreen, you have something to add?
Yes. In most cases, I did my internship in a government organization. I'll not say the name, but then when you bring in a letter, it is received and stamped, but this letter goes through processes to reach where you want it to reach. So maybe this could be the same criteria. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Achom, are you convinced that the Electoral Commission is independent, or you still hold your view?
With the kind of clue you've just highlighted of His Excellency President Chagulanyi, I don't think it was fair that they... Okay, let me first ask a question. Was the letter presented out to everyone 2 days to the deadline, or it was just his?
It was just his.
That is not credible. I do not think it was credible, because they gave it out to him 2 days to the deadline, because they could have understood that it is not going to be so possible or easy that he collects those signatures in that limited time.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to the next question, Kasifa. Would like to understand if you think that the Constitution has lived up to its promises of guaranteeing free and fair, credible elections in Uganda today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it has lived to serve Ugandans the freedom to fairly appoint their leaders, because with the 1995 Constitution, we see it giving freedom and rights to Ugandans to vote whoever they want to put in power. And this is what is currently happening, that we've seen people from different political parties coming out to stand and go out there, look for votes, they are chosen by people, but I do not understand the reason, the kind of way people now take leaders into parliament, because it has come to a point whereby Ugandans, I don't know if they have lost hope or they do not know what exactly is good for their country, and the criteria they are using to choose leaders is still worrying to me, because now we have had people who are just convinced by someone comes to your area and they just give you hose, they just give you soap, they just give you whatever, they bribe your mind, and you end up selling your vote, and that is not what the Constitution was here for. However much it gave you freedom to look for whoever you want to look for, but it should be for people who are credible enough to, because these people you're sending in parliament are your representatives, they are your voices. So if you choose someone just because they have come to you and give you something, you are not only burying your district, but the country at large. So to me, back to the question, the Constitution has really granted that to the citizens since 1995. We've seen there has been a free and fair election. We've not had anyone coming out to say, for me, my votes were rigged. And if you're rigged, there is the Constitution also favors you to go and report. There is judiciary for that. You go and report. If you, like she was saying, if you come out to be if it comes out that it was rigged and you are the winner, then you announced. We even have seen that there is even re-election. We've seen there is a lot going on with freedom in elections, so I think the Constitution is really doing well.
Okay, thank you very much. Carol, how do you think Ugandans are prepared for the elections next year? How prepared are Ugandans for elections next year?
Oh, generally, I feel like people are so excited and very ready for the elections next year, with the kind of energy on ground, people supporting and pushing in for their leaders. But however much they are pushing in for their leaders, I don't know if they've sat down to really analyze and critically put it into place that the kind of leader they are pushing for is the right one for them. But on the aspect of that, if we are to see in preparation for next year's elections, they are very ready. And I've seen this time round, the kind of violence which usually happens, I feel like compared to the previous election of the previous campaign periods, if we are to talk on a scale of 10 to 1, this year's violence in the process is more less than to around 3. So that gives you a hint that they are really ready for it, and whatever happens, they are ready for it.
Okay, Carol, following the by-elections for Kawempe North, there was a lot of violence involved. There were media personnel that were tortured, some were killed. There was a lot of tear gas and guns shooting in every direction. And someone was actually on here and told us that that could be a baby shower of what is coming. The baby is coming in 2026. We are yet to expect the worst. So shouldn't you think that 2026 may be unsafe for Ugandans to vote?
Perhaps maybe we should also talk about what was the cause of that whole violence there. You know, Ugandans are funny people. Right now, if you're to check on the internet, they feel like there is this meme that is moving around. They are like, this year's election, I'm not feeling it. Eh? Like, it is not giving me the vibe. It's boring. Like, they're used to the kind of harsh way and rude way. So you find that the problem comes in from the people, not the actual leaders whom they are pushing for. It is the people. It is now in their mindset that without violence, because look at how the previous governments came in. Everything was through force. So it also brings a perspective in the minds of the people that, no, my leader must go in. So we have to study why was there a war? Why was there violence? What caused it? I'm sure it is not on a basis of maybe of the leaders, but you know, Casper is here and then Morris is here. You may find they have their own different political parties, but at one point in time, we should put down the ideologies of political parties separating us and bringing us closer in terms of violence. There are other things we can talk about, but then in Ugandan's mind, if she's a new person, she's an NRM, it is a must. They should never collide. Them colliding is only when there is war. So perhaps that would be the reason. So if they start fighting here, of course, her supporters will come in and her supporters won't come in, and then, yeah, the police have to come in.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, you have something to add?
Yeah, adding on what she's saying and what we're talking about, and Ugandans expecting the worst in 2026, 2026, I don't think that is going to happen because previously we've had candidates that have always had a sympathy card. They always want to incite violence so that the police comes in and then they do not have to continue with their campaigns. And now, when you're campaigning, this is the time you come to your people and give them what you think you have for them. But I can assure you, Ugandans, that there is not any violence coming. These people have to come to you and tell you what they have for you. The president has also been strategic this time around, I think, with his people and everyone that is working on this. I really credit them. They're doing a very good thing, and I hope it happens up to January when we have to vote. These people, most of these leaders, actually they have even started. We're seeing some of these campaign leaders on their lorries. They're bringing insults to the current government. They are, instead of approaching because if we have different political ideologies, it doesn't make me your enemy. You have to attack me with a great mind, not insults. But we see these leaders coming here, inciting violence in people, telling them if you're in Uganda and you're still supporting this particular political party, then you're an enemy to the country. And as a leader, why would you even be saying that? You are saying that to pull the attention of the police or the military to come and harm you so that you don't say anything to people. But this time around, no one is going to harm you. You're going to insult the government and no one is going to cause any chaos until people realize that you have nothing to tell them and you go back home. There is not any violence coming, and I pray it doesn't really come. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kasefa. We hope indeed that there is no violence coming next year. So that has been it for our very first half. We are taking a break and we shall be right back.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Welcome back for the second segment. Still, our topic centers around the credibility of elections in Uganda since 1961, and our guests today are from Makerere University Business School. And diving right back into our conversation, would like to ask the question of how prepared Ugandans are for the elections next year, and this goes to Achom.
Thank you so much. I feel, yes, Ugandans are ready. They are prepared for the elections coming up in 2026. We see that everyone has analyzed what they feel like, what they feel is the intention of their political candidate for them. So I feel like they are prepared for this. Well, back then, most people were like, most people who are for the new party, who would have been for the new party, were like, they cannot trust what Chagulanyi could be after, and they do not know him so much, and they feel like there's this back time kind of thing that people had about Chagulanyi, more like, how do they call that, from the ghettos, something, so he couldn't take the country any far. But then we are seeing that looks like he has something up with him, looks like he's not really here to disappoint. That is for the people who needed time to analyze him more. Like he has had a transition, because from his kind of aspect, people kind of see like if he had a transition from the ghetto life to his new lifestyle right now, he looks responsible and committed or something like that. So most people are like, yeah, looks like yes, he has something good to bring into the table. But then on the other aspect is that, Museveni, His Excellency President Kaguta Museveni, has led Uganda for the past many years, and we have experienced peace, though there are kind of like some other aspects of maybe people feel like it's corrupt or something, so they would like to change political parties, change candidate. But then, he has led us to where like we feel peace compared to some countries we see are in like dire need of stability. So I think people are in a situation where like they are able to make their election decisions, like they have analyzed who can take them to better places. So I feel like they are ready.
I have something to
Yes,
either ask or... So, Achom, do you know, like, when you go for a job interview, they're not going to choose you not because of your appearance, but your experience.
Yeah.
So, you're talking about Museveni, NRM, sorry, His Excellency, and no. The reason why people are, I'm sure, and I know, because I've had people say this several times over and over again. The reason why people are still backing up and running up for His Excellency Museveni and for his political party, people are basing on a fact that he has really worked for this country from way back, and he has the experience. You get the point?
Yeah.
So it's going to be so hard for people to entrust someone just like how you've said it. He's from the ghetto. Sorry to ask, perhaps he is also not educated, and it is quoted that he's one of these people who used to do the drugs and stuff. So all that coming up together, it's going to be so hard for people to really give him that space to step in. However much they're giving him the support, I really don't think he will have it. Experience is going to always push you more to places than your appearance. Yes, he might have changed. Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. Also adding on what she's saying, I think it is going to get back to you. I think, okay, in my opinion, you talked about corruption, and you think this is why maybe Ugandans at some point would want change because the current government is being corrupt and all that. Yeah, of course, we know he has been here for a very long time, and we know that best dancer also leaves the stage. But this time around, we do not have to bring in our emotions. This is something that is about the whole country, not a particular person, just because he came from the ghetto and we can see his transition, so now we think he's taking us any better. This is the same person who is telling you that Uganda is bleeding. But do you know how much he's earning? Instead of him telling Ugandans how he has been able to make it in this Uganda that is bleeding, he's out there inciting violence. And then another thing, back to corruption. My point is now about corruption. When does corruption even begin? I don't even know if Ugandans know that corruption starts with us as Ugandans. Before we bring it to the government, before we start blaming these people in parliament and these leaders, let's talk about ourselves. Take an example. Someone goes to URA or even to NIRA or wherever. But just because they have it in mind that, oh, I have to bribe this person for me to be worked on sharp, you end up bribing this person. It is a two-way thing. You are showing them that now this person is also going to be like, okay, if this person has given me like a 50K, then let me also wait for the next person in line who is going to be maybe behind to come and give me like a 50K for me to work on them. Who is now starting corruption? Of course, you as a Ugandan. When these people come to you, you ask them for money when they are campaigning. You tell them, if you do not bring this, we are not going to vote you. You yourselves as Ugandans, you're inciting corruption in the country. And then when it now exaggerates and gets somewhere, look at these traffic officers on the roads. These people be there, their vehicles are in poor conditions. Sometimes they do not have permits, but they know when I go and give this man a 5K, I'm going to get my way out. Who is starting the corruption mind? You yourself as a Ugandan. Now, when you do that, for example, your car is in a mechanical condition. You give this man money, and when you've reached somewhere there, you're into an accident, you die. And now you're going to blame the president or someone that it is because of the roads that we're having these accidents. That's why we are not, this country has failed us. Like, you people are finding you're finding anyone to blame for your actions. Like, it is, in my opinion, Uganda should stop the blame games. It is high time we know that we are the problems to the country, actually. we ourselves.
Okay, can I ask the two of you if you guys understood the question that was posed to me? It was asked if I think Ugandans are ready.
Yeah.
And from your kind of judgment, I feel like you are in a point whereby you're kind of making it look like, are Ugandans ready to vote Museveni back to the seat for the betterment of them? The question was like this: are they ready? Do you think they have made enough analysis on their candidate? And I made it in a point that, yes, Museveni has led us very well. And okay, like, not corruption in a way, like the logical understanding, it cannot be totally eliminated. One way or the other, one way or the other, it is still going to happen at a certain corner, you get? So I brought that the aspect of someone who would think like Chagulanyi is going to favor them, and someone, no, Chagulanyi is going to lead them well, and someone who is going to be like Museveni is going to lead them well. Though you've pointed out the aspect that, yes, Museveni would be a better president, I was answering the question, do you think they have analyzed, and you think they have, you know, with their analysis and everything, do you think they have made up their minds of who they think could be a potential candidate? The kind of analysis you've given is that it is Museveni who could be the better one. But then you're not giving the view of another person who is in for Chagulanyi. Not that I'm in for Chagulanyi, but then with the people that have analysis of Museveni and Chagulanyi is the aspect I was kind of like trying to bring out, like with their analysis of the candidate they wish for. Are they ready? So I feel like they are ready on their own aspects.
I think when it comes to the presidential candidates, each individual or each group of people have reasons as to why they're standing behind a particular person.
Yes.
Yes, I think let us not get into exhausting them right now. We want to understand if at all Ugandans are ready to vote. You can't be voting anyone else.
Yes.
Yes, so are they ready to vote next year?
Yeah, I feel they are ready to vote because they could have seen what good they see in whoever candidate they think can do the better for them. So it is in them, they have analyzed, and they feel like we could get the better from this one. I feel like they are ready.
Okay, thank you very much. Doreen, do you hold the same view that Ugandans are ready to vote next year? Are you going to vote next year?
Yes, I'm going to vote. And I do believe at a certain point, some are ready. And at a certain point still, some are still ignorant and they are not ready. Why am I saying this? If at this point, someone can still be convinced by being given horse. I remember in a certain village, a candidate gave horse to the people, promising them that, hey, I'm the best candidate, I'm going to promote agriculture here. But guess what? When this person was voted, because people thought this was the right person, because this person gave them horse, these people actually disappointed. This person went into parliament, never said anything. The person was always quiet. Nothing was done, nothing was improved. So at a certain point, if there are people out there that still believe that by someone promising you to bring us new trains or to build us more than 5 airports in Uganda, and that's the right person, then that's something to question about. I do believe that at a certain point also why Uganda and some of the Ugandans are not ready, because we are lacking civil awareness. This is supposed to be done by the Electoral Commission. I mean, come to the ground, teach these people, show them. I mean, people should know their rights. People should know who is the right person. Because we have so many people out there that actually just vote because my friend is voting. Well, I'm voting because my friend has contested. But is your friend the right candidate? That's the question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Doreen. And coming on to Kasifa, I would like to ask a question. She has talked about the Electoral Commission. So now in regards to other civil societies, for example, Center for Constitutional Governance, what do you think is their role in civic education?
I think CCG should do more of sensitization. They should create awareness among people. Let these people know their rights. Let these people know what they are, what they hold as citizens of the country. It is better they sensitize them and create awareness, give them knowledge For example, now, like these shows that are sponsored by CCG, they are very important to the people out there. When we come here and share these things and bring out some of the ideas that maybe someone out there will pick up and use them, it is one of these things that should be done. And I think it is a very good cause.
Okay, thank you very much. Akara, you mentioned some of the challenges that were being faced by the Electoral Commission.
Yeah.
So I'd like to understand what are some of the reforms that could be put in place in order to find a solution to those challenges.
So in regards to the challenges in the electoral process and system, of course, every challenge there must be a solution. So I remember talking about challenges like the media, the political party dominance, and then others will come in along the way. But for challenges like, for example, the political dominance, I feel like just like the way I talked about it, how the whole EC chairperson and his whole cabinet comes in. Yes, in the electoral process and system, and in a multi-party democracy country, whereby every political party is given in a chance and a right to do what it wants, I feel like they should stop crying that there is corruption in this whole system. How about strengthening the inclusion of each representative into those into the electoral system, so that if she's from NUP, she's from NRM, maybe DP, they be giving them the right information, because I feel like they feel like everyone who is there is from one political party. So inclusion of other political parties also in the system will stop that kind of mindset in the people, because their agents whom they sent there will be clearly give them the information that they need to hear, the truth. Because when they declare this candidate the winner, of course there's no way you will lie it up. So also using the social media coverage is very important. Just as we are talking about the sensitization and civic education, these social medias does a lot in that. However much some places may be lacking the social media, but we have the villages, we still use radios. I feel like people have made it that radios are no longer into access and use. But there are those people deep down in the village who can easily access this information here. Let them keep airing this information on televisions, on the radio stations, and maybe the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, X, because different people use different platforms, and yeah, this information will be able to reach out a wide number of them. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the recommendations that you have given. And I wanted to ask a question to Achom. She has given us recommendations in regards to the electoral process, what it can do better and how it can do better. Are there any examples that you can draw from other countries that have a good, I will not say perfect, but a good electoral system that you think Uganda should borrow from?
Thank you so much. Well, yeah, I feel like yes, there are countries we can borrow a leaf from during elections, like how to conduct elections. For example, let's talk about like the US. Elections in the US, it happens in most cases that we have a lot of during these elections and the voting processes and everything. It is highly done and quite protective. You get it, there is barely like a leakage for something like vote rigging or chaos or something. Yes, there can be chaos, but then they are limited, they are controlled. Not like in a red where we've seen a lot of fights, a lot of chaos, loss of lives or something in Uganda. So I feel like we should borrow a leaf and, for example, like let's first start with educating the public on the risks involved if you fall to the other side of the whole system when you're found wrong, and the whole chaotic system of it, the consequences. Educate the public on that, so that yeah, maybe they could try and avoid that, and also like enforce strict laws on it. Like if someone is responsible for something, or maybe like you're the reason for the chaos, for the fights, the loss of lives, you're gonna have to pay dearly for it. So that people would have it in them, like, be cautious. Yes, there's politics and everything, but there's life after politics. So you're gonna be cautious with everything. So I feel like, yeah, if we enforce this kind of thing, we could have it better.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ashom, for that. And today, our show and our guests have been from Makerere University Business School. They have shared their perspectives, they've shared their ideas, and we cannot wait to hear what you say in the comment section down below. That has been our show. We shall now have closing remarks from each of our guests, starting with Kasifa.
Okay, thank you so much. As we end our show, I would just like to sensitize Ugandans that this time around the election is going to be more peaceful than ever. So they should all come and vote. Don't be intimidated. Don't be scared or worried about anything. And when these people come to you, let them bring you the ideology, the mind they have. When someone is challenging the person you want to vote and they are trying to convince you, let them convince you with what they are going to do, not what they are giving to you. Because if they come with money, just trust me, they will want to first work and gain the money they gave to you. So vote responsibly. It is your responsibility as a Ugandan to take these people into power. No one should lie to you that they are going to bribe. No one should lie to you that they are getting there because they have the money. Vote someone because of their mind. Do not be intimidated by the rich people. I know there are some areas where the contestants are wives to the generals, and when you've contested with them, they will want to intimidate you because of that energy they carry. But don't feel intimidated. Vote the person you see that has the capacity to develop your area, so that you're not bringing the blames to the president or to the ruling government. And that's all I can say. I wish you nice elections.
I hope you're going to vote.
Exactly, I am.
Okay, thank you very much for your closing remarks. And next is Carol.
So as we are coming into the conclusion of the show, it shouldn't be the conclusion of you gaining civic knowledge. Just like you always scroll through your phone on videos and stuff, you can use the same data to educate yourself too, using the available resources on websites. So as we're into the campaign period, I would just like to let you know that there is always life after everything altogether. Political parties shouldn't put you into a separation with somebody. But however much you're campaigning for your candidate, we hope and believe the candidate you're pushing for has the rightful ideologies and will be able to really fully do what they are promising on ground as per now. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Carol. And Ashom, your concluding remarks to our viewers.
Thank you so much for this day. Yeah, I would like to tell the viewers that, yes, as the elections are coming about, please analyze your candidate very well and make an educated decision. There is something going around, like you send someone who is like those money-minded, those are financially stable candidates. They are not good or something. They are just there to corrupt you for your money or something, corrupt you for the money, the everything. To a larger extent, we find that these are the people, the saying that you have to fill your cup before you help a neighbor. So you have to be somewhere in order to be able to help the rest. This thing of someone helping you during their campaign, it's not corruption. It's a way of how they're still trying to let you know that, because it's not assured that they are gonna win. It is the real day that is gonna let it know that they're gonna win. So however way they're going to help you, give you the horse, give you the what, it cannot really be tagged as corruption. So in a kind of aspect whereby you see someone who actually has money, and yes, during their campaign they served out a lot of things to the public, yeah, and in the end they went through. That was good, and in most cases we have also seen these people actually still bringing back development to the public. And we have seen the other bad aspect of it, whereby yes, the public thinks we are going to send someone who's like us, like poor like us, he understands us and everything, he's going to go and fill his cup. Though some of them actually want to bring back whatever, they promised you, but then there's a probability that he's just going to go fill his cup and you'll have to find yourself wherever you get. So make educated decisions. That's all there is to say. Make educated decisions. Analyze your candidate well and have a good time. I hope the elections will come fair and quite educative. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you very much. And lastly, Doreen, your concluding remarks to our viewers.
As we conclude the discussion, thank you so much. I would like to emphasize all of us and also tell Ugandans that the Uganda's electoral journey is actually developing day in, day out. As much as the challenges persist, we can't also, the progress of the country is also not something that we can deny. It's visible. Try and, while as we go to the 2026 general elections on 15th January, please vote for the right person. Vote for the person that you believe is going to do or is going to give you what you want, and don't go because of someone's influence or because of a friend is voting so and you also vote so and so. And lastly, corruption starts with you as a Ugandan. If you do not insinuate the corruption, it would stop. If you do not pay this traffic officer or anyone in power to do something for you, which means this person will take the law as how it's supposed to be. They will actually, if it's the traffic officer's lineage, this person will actually have to arrest you, and guess what? Things will move in line. And step by step, we could take baby steps, and yeah, we'll get there and have what we'd call credible elections.
Okay, thank you very much. That has been our show for today, and we hope that you continue to watch our show. Subscribe to Civic Space, and that has been it. I've been your host, Sharon Mukisa. Till next time.